Greetings, Earthlings. Cosmos the Alien once again invading your screens, daring to discuss the upcoming MegaMan Star Force Legacy Collection. Because, little known fact, I'm a bit of a space nerd, but specifically a huge fan of the MegaMan Star Force series. I love it to death. It is near and dear to my heart. I've mentioned as much in previous episodes, but I thought I'd talk about it because suddenly it's relevant again. People are playing the games, or at least talking about them, and now because of that, I thought it'd be important to discuss why you should be as excited as I and a lot of other people on the internet are, or at least the EarthNet. In space, people don't really care about Earth video games, not as much as I do, unless they're nerds like me. So, why should you care? Well, maybe I should leave Apple Market, because, that's a little more relevant to Legends, not necessarily Star Force. So, I'll meet you in AC/DC Town. Alright, Earthlings, we've arrived in AC/DC Town. Now, sure, maybe it's got a bit more relevance to the Battle Network series, but, no one has taken it upon themselves to make a Battle Network world, and technically speaking, the version of AC/DC Town, which has a 7-Eleven and a Honda dealership, specifically, that I'm standing in, was found in the files of the first Star Force game, so it's a little relevant, tangentially, and they do take place in the same timeline. Meanwhile, Legends just shares some DNA in developers. So, now, why should you play the Star Force series? Why should you care? I mean, come on. The protagonist has a weird head hand, and it's all space themed. There's no robots. First of all, there are a couple robots. And secondly, the head arm is cool. It's not in the third game, anyways. But you should care because this is a game that is not much like its predecessor in the Battle Network series. It's very unique. It broke a lot of new ground. However, even compared to the Battle Network series, the Star Force series is very different. In fact, so different that at the time of its release, a lot of fans didn't like the Star Force series because it was too dissimilar. For instance, the protagonist of the series, Stellar, has a pretty noticeable character arc he goes through over the course of all three games. Starting off, we learn that, and I'm not going to spoil any of the games. I'm going to give you information that you learn kind of right off the bat, and is, from what I can tell, stuff that's being said kind of on the websites of the games and in the trailers and whatnot. But you learn, okay, he's a kid, he's 10 years old, just like Lan Hikari was. And he's in 5th grade, yada yada yada, but unlike Lan, who had, a mom who was there, and his dad was busy with work, but still, was there, was present, and he cared about him. Gio's dad's kind of dead, and it's very clear that Gio is mourning, that he's depressed, and he's dealing with the loss of his father, and he's not taking it well. He's dealing with depression, and he's become a shut-in. He has, he's dropped out of school, and he's taken all his classes online instead, which, ahead of its time, because that wasn't really something circa the first game's release that you really could do, but nowadays, I mean, it's something you, like, that most Earthlings seem to do, but so you learn, he's got a lot of stuff going on. And then all of a sudden, adventures thrust upon him, powers thrust upon him. He has to team up with this very brash alien, Omegasis. Although the website says it's pronounced Omegazis, the alien, the anime pronounces it Omegasis. Although in the Japanese version he's called Warrock, and for short he's just called Mega. So he meets Mega, and unlike with the Lan Hikari MegaMan.exe dynamic, where it's very clear that they're brothers and they like each other, even though they quip and they bicker and yada yada yada, Geo and Mega have a much more confrontational relationship at first, with Geo being very dour and being very, depressed and introverted and being very reluctant to socialize with people, and Mega kind of pushing him out of his comfort zone at first. But also Mega being a very angry character, being kind of the brash protagonist-y type in a lot of respects, but even then, not entirely being there. And it's also very clear that he's not exactly someone that's letting the Geo and by extension, the audience know everything that he knows. So there's that question of like, okay, how much do you as the player trust him? Additionally, the supporting cast mirrors Battle Networks, but it's not exactly the same. So it's kind of interesting. So this game kind of shares a spot with Persona 3 in that it was a game about mental health that released in the year 2006, because Star Force 1 and Persona 3 did release in the same year. But the theme of mental health permeates the first Star Force game. Every single boss you face is in some way dealing with some sort of struggle, some sort of mental struggle or emotional struggle, and an alien, known as an Ephemian, comes in and basically is like, I'll give you power in exchange for, as a way of dealing with this, but the way that they help them deal with their problem is an inherently unhealthy way of dealing with it. And over the course of the game, it presents a thesis on connection, which stands in stark contrast to a lot of media a lot of Japanese media. Because a lot of media, just in general, will say that, people want connection inherently, and it's just a problem of actually getting it. And if people say they don't, they're just denying it, or they're reluctant. But Geo's very clearly someone who isn't denying it and in denial. He actively doesn't want it. It's likely because of grief. It's because of something that would honestly merit a more scripted, in-depth character analysis. But instead it says it's a necessity to process anything that's going on. It's a necessity in order to deal with mental health issues. It's a necessity to make it through whatever is plaguing you. In order to better yourself, in order to make it through depression or anxiety or grief, one must connect with others. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to maintain those connections, and it's going to be painful, and it's going to... Often, you're going to have to deal with annoying people, and Geo does have to deal with annoying people. But, in the end, you come out the side a better person. But Geo doesn't necessarily go from, being dour and depressed at the start of the first game to suddenly in the second game, he's super happy and heroic and just like Land Hikari. No, that continues through the second game and the third game. There is a gradual buildup of him kind of learning to come out of his shell more frequently and build up a support system and build up kind of an inner strength. And it's a very, very hopeful story in how it says that, no, these issues don't define me. And so for myself and a lot of other people, the sort of the message it portrays via a very, power of friendship way, a power of the, it talks about this by way of power of friendship in the first game, but first, second, and third game. It kind of is all the games, but kind of this theme is something that's resonated with myself and a lot of other fans of the games. And I lost my train of thought there for a second. But that being said, it's something that I think is very much worth looking into, because nowadays, games that deal with mental health issues are very common, but I don't think necessarily the specific issues that Star Force deals with have necessarily been tackled in the same way, nor have, obviously Star Force's characters are incredibly unique, as is its battle system. I have played a couple Battle Network games, but my experience with them is not as in-depth as it is with the Star Force series, so I'm not exactly an expert. but for people who might not necessarily be in love with battle system, Star Force might be more for you because Star Force places a lot more emphasis on the action and on speed than on Battle Network, which places a lot more emphasis on being like a card game. Star Force, you play battle cards, it is more explicit in how it is like a card game, but it definitely tries to pace itself out like an anime fight, and is a lot better for that. There's no less strategy, but the game doesn't necessarily lose. I think it ends up finding a different sort of appeal in how it doesn't have the same sort of drawbacks nor barriers to entry. Chip codes, not a problem. Oh, you don't have the right chip codes, so suddenly this new thing you got is completely useless. No, if I get a new card, I can just throw it in my deck, try it out. Oh, if I don't like it, cool. Old card, come in. There's a lot more. It encourages experimentation. It encourages just trying out whatever and finding whatever playstyle. You can go crazy, ham, or you can go, methodical, or you can emphasize all the dimming chips you want. It is very much a game all about customization and, I think, self-expression of the player, whereas Battle Network very much, I think, railroads you into very certain play styles based on, oh, what style did you get? Oh, what souls are in the specific version you play, etc., etc. Obviously, something similar does apply to Star Force and its own form changes. You're more likely to use certain types of cards, but even then, I think there's a little more room for experimentation. So, to conclude, the amazing story and characters that the Star Force series presents, and its themes of connection, mental health, etc., and its interesting battle system, which presents a different sort of appeal to its predecessor, alongside, I think, being a lot more accessible to the average player, are honestly the main reasons, though obviously not the only reasons, why I would encourage all of you to be excited for, and eventually, when the game releases, check out the MegaMan Star Force Legacy Collection. But that's all I gotta say on the matter. That's enough out of me. So this is Cosmos the Alien, blasting off.